As you can see, our black birch behind the house has gotten a little out of control. So today I'm going to trim this back, but at the same time, I'm going to show you how I make birch beer. I'm not going to get into identifying the tree like I would in a foraging video, but I'll cover some of it. The way the leaves look and the way they alternate from side to side on a branch, the back side of the leaf. I'll make sure to have some close-up video of each of these things, and also the bark of the tree and how it has horizontal striations that run up the tree. I'll make sure to have some really close-up video of that to help identify it yourself. There's lots of different type of birch tree, but what we're using today is a black birch. And the easiest way to know if you have a black birch is to actually just taste it. If you take a branch and chew on it. As kids, we used to do this. This would sort of be our toothbrush when you go camping, because you chew on it and it gets all fibrous at the end and you can brush your teeth with it. Black birch has a very strong wintergreen flavor. It's not going to have a tree flavor. It's not going to taste like grass. It's not going to have a bitter taste to it. It's very, very pleasant. And one of the quickest way to know that you have black birch is that you'll find that it's a birch tree based on the tree's leaves and the bark. You can learn how to identify that stuff, but if you taste the tree, don't ingest it, don't eat the wood and swallow it, but just taste it. By chomping on it a little bit, it tastes like you're chewing gum. It has a wintergreen flavor. And our birch beer is going to take that flavor and make it into something delicious. I'm going to try to keep it simple as far as measurements, because there really aren't a lot of rules to doing this. I'm going to fill a 1 gallon container with birch branches. I'm going to use branches no bigger than my finger and smaller. They can be real small. Strip the leaves off and cut them into lengths about as long as your thumb. So we'll use our fingers kind of as measurement. So if I reach up and grab a branch and snip this off, I'm going to take the leaves and just pull them right off the branch. And then I'm going to cut lengths of this about a couple inches long. So pieces about this big. And the branch can be as round as, say, your finger or a pencil. Whatever. They don't have to be big branches. As a matter of fact, the smaller the branch, the more flavor it's going to have. But if you stick with really little branches like this, it's going to take you all day just to collect your birch. So I'm going to cut these branches up, throw them in my 1 gallon pitcher, and when this pitcher is full, I've got enough birch. Then the next thing is we'll be adding water to it and boiling it down on the stove. But let's get this filled up first, and then we'll move on to the next step. Well, the hard part is over. We've cut 1 gallon or 1 gallon container full of small pieces of birch. And since it's a hot day, decided to do all of our cooking outside in the outdoor kitchen. Not that I wouldn't enjoy this in the house, because the smell of this as it's boiling is just going to be amazing. Right now, I'm just going to keep the fire going, and I'm going to bring 2 gallons of water to a boil. Once this starts boiling, I'm going to add our birch, and then I'm going to top it off with the remaining gallon or whatever it takes just to cover the birch. We're not trying to fill the pot. That's not the goal. It's just to make sure all of the birch that we add is submerged in water, and we bring it to a hard rolling boil. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. Our water came to a boil, but that's about to change. Once I add the birch to the pot, it's going to bring the boil down. Then we're going to top it off with some fresh water, and we're going to bring it back up to a rolling boil again. So let's get all this birch added in. Make sure I don't splash myself too bad. And I'll bring you in for a closer look when I add the extra water. There we go. And we'll take a closer look. It doesn't look like I even need to add more water. 2 gallons will look like it worked fine. And it may be because I cut smaller pieces of birch instead of larger pieces. I went with really new shoots in this batch. As you can see, most of the wood is floating at the top, and the boil has simmered down quite a bit. So I'm going to cover this up, bring it back up to a roaring boil, and when it's at that boil, we're going to take the pot off the heat, and it's going to sit overnight. All of this wood that's floating at the top overnight should sink to the bottom. It'll get waterlogged and sink, and that's what we're looking for. So let's get this back up to a boil, and then we'll move on from there. Well, our pot has reached a full rolling boil again. So I'm going to cover it, take it off the heat. And, oh God, it smells amazing already. I'm gonna take it off the heat, and I'll just put it down there for right now. We'll let it sit overnight. I'm sure most of you who are going to be doing this are going to do it in your kitchen, and in your kitchen you're not going to put it on the floor, but put it wherever it can sit without burning a hole in your floor, and let it cool overnight. And we'll be back in the morning to check it out. All of that wood should settle. If it does, that means the first phase worked perfectly. It's the next morning. All of our birch settled to the bottom of the pot. So now it's time to get it back on the stove. And what we're gonna do is, I'm not gonna put the cover on it. I'm gonna leave it uncovered. And we're gonna boil this down so it's down to about 3 to 4 cups in the pot. Unless you have a pot that has measurements on it, it may be a little difficult to tell how much is in here. You're just gonna have to eyeball it. But there's no recipe for this. It's more of a process, and once you get the feel for it, you'll get it. But I'll show you what mine looks like when it's done. You wanna make it a dark brown. You can even taste it, cool it down, blow on it and give it a taste and see if it's to your liking. When it's at that point, it's finished. But for 1 gallon of birch sticks, we're gonna boil this down to about 3 to 4 cups of syrup. And at 3 or 4 cups, it's gonna be finished. I'll show you what it looks like. We'll strain it through, you can use a coffee filter, or you can strain it through muslin or cheesecloth, however you want. But we'll get it strained. I'll show you what it looks like, and I'll show you how you can use it. We finally reached a boil, and I'm gonna let this keep going and condense down into a nice syrup. Marilyn's also got some salsa cooking on the stove. While we got it hot out here and the stove is going anyway, might as well get as much done as we can. I'll bring you back as soon as we get down to that 3 to 4 cups. It looks like our syrup has gotten to that point. If I dig down, I'm gonna guess that we have a quart or maybe a little bit less. And if I look at the color, kind of an ambery brown color, I guess. So what I'm gonna do first thing is I gotta get these sticks out of here. So I'm gonna strain out the sticks, and then we're gonna take the liquid and we're going to put it through some muslin. You can use a coffee filter, or you can use anything you want to filter the liquid. I'm just gonna pour it through some muslin, and then we'll see how much we have. I finished straining all of the birch twigs out of the brew, and we poured it through some muslin. It gave us 5 cups, and that would be fine if I was just gonna put this in the fridge and drink it as it is, add some ice to it and just have a refreshing drink. But because I want to make a syrup that I can either add to seltzer to make soda, or I can add to tea, or add to another drink, I need to thicken it up just a little bit more. So I already measured. I poured 3 cups in here and put a ruler in, like a dipstick, and I get 1 inch. So when this is boiled down to 1 inch, I know I'm at 3 cups. 1 1/4 inches is about 4 cups. So I'm just gonna monitor it until I get down to the right amount. And then once it's there, we'll add sugar and we'll finish this up. Well, I finally got this reduced down to 3 cups. And what we're gonna do is add 2 cups of sugar and stir this in. Now, if you don't want to use sugar, you can use honey, you can use molasses, you can use maple syrup, you can use a sweetener of your choice. I'm just using sugar. It may not be the healthiest choice, but it's definitely, I think, the tastiest choice. And if you want to also think that this is too much sugar, it's less sugar than you use when making jelly. So, okay, so now that I added that, I'm just going to put it back on the heat and stir until that sugar is fully incorporated. Once it's incorporated, I'll pour it into a jar. We'll see what we've got. And I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it cool. We'll probably pick this up tomorrow after I get this poured out. But I'll bring you back as soon as the sugar is incorporated. It should only take a couple minutes. Okay, I've got all the sugar incorporated. I'm going to pour it. Let's see if it fits in my jar. It's nice and dark. Perfect. Alrighty. So what I'm gonna do, because it's getting kinda late, I've got to let this cool before I can really use it. I'm gonna put a lid on this and I'm gonna get it in the refrigerator, and we'll pick this up tomorrow. We'll make a couple of drinks, and I can I'll have Marilyn taste it and give you her opinion. It's the next morning. This had a chance to sit in the refrigerator and cool overnight. And like I said, this is a syrup. If you didn't want to add the sugar, you could just drink it as it is. But by turning this into a syrup, I'm actually doubling it because it's a concentrate. And I'm going to use it 50-50. However, I can use it to either sweeten and flavor cake frosting, or add it to cakes or cookies. Or you can just add it to tea, or what I'm going to do today is add it to some seltzer water, again 50-50, and make a Riel birch beer soda. So let's get that done. I'll pour myself a glass. I'm going to do 1 cup of the syrup. Since I got 4 cups here, that'll give me 4 glasses of soda. And I'm going to pour this over ice, and you can either use seltzer water, or this was made with a Soda Stream, and it's just seltzer. It's just carbonated water. And I'm going to add that. And we have birch beer. So I'm going to do up another glass. I'm going to have Marilyn try this out with me, because I don't want to be the only one who drinks this. And I'll have her give you her honest opinion.
Well, time to give this soda a try. It's nice and dark. It's very good. Personally, I probably wouldn't make it quite as strong. But it's definitely good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, we'll be making this again.
Yeah, very nostalgic. This was something we had when we were kids. I had an Aunt Helen who would send us into the woods to collect black birch. She had us not only strip the leaves, we used to peel the bark off. It was a much longer process, but it was always worth it in the end when we got something to drink. So I haven't made this for Marilyn yet. It's one of those things that we have a black birch in the backyard. She's been insisting I cut it down for years, and I had to trim it back because it's starting to get kind of bushy. And just to show that you can use birch for more than just toasting marshmallows and hot dogs, or chewing on because it has a neat flavor, there's some pretty cool recipes you can use it for. So,
yep. If you have any cool recipes, like you make soda, like we did our pine needle soda, as well as the birch beer, if you have any you'd like to share, make sure you leave it in the comment section. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If there's other videos you'd like to see, make sure you leave us a note in the comments. And until next time, everybody, take care.
See ya.